Jason is like his neck is on a bench.
He's like pelvic thrusting.
His neck is on a bench, and his feet are on like a playground, and he's pelvic thrusting core exercises. And RJ sneaks up and jumps in here and lands ass first on his crotch and knocks him to the ground. And they both laugh about it. I was like, one, that would fucking hurt. Like, that did not look like fun. And two, I was like, what are we doing here, movie? Hello and welcome back to the 167th episode. Good, Bad, or Bad Bet. Show us terrible movies still. You should too. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Shilligo, joined again in the first time in the new year. It's 2023, Kyle. Nice, sparkly, fresh new year.
Hope in our eyes right now.
So much joy and wonder and optimism.
And then like March comes around. Oh,
fuck this.
Oh.
But no, we're starting off on an incredible high note with just a movie that I cannot wait to talk about because I loved so much about this movie. Let's just get right into it. We're talking about 1985's
No Retreat,
No Surrender.
Ghost of Bruce Lee, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Coca-cola.
Holy hot damn. I read the plot summary on IMDb and I was like, holy fuck, this can't be a real movie.
It's insane.
Jason, a Bruce Lee fan, sees his karate instructor / dad beaten by martial arts thugs. They move to Seattle where, after humiliations, he trains with Bruce Lee's ghost so he can defend himself and others against thugs. And I was like, what? That sounds insane. And it is, and I love it, and it's incredible. So this is one of Jean-Claude Van Damme's earliest roles.
Yes. The only thing I even remember him being in earlier than this, just because I was looking into his IMDb history, was like some Italian film where he gets into a fight with somebody on the side of the road.
Right, yeah. And so like he is not the big action star yet at this point.
I think the only thing that people would probably know him for is like kickboxing competitions. And
stuff. And just from the world of martial or whatever, I would imagine. I don't know, but he is not the household name remotely. Like this is the beginning of his career. And he's credited in this movie as Ivan the Russian.
Yes.
Which I don't know. Jean-Claude Van Damme is Belgian, I believe. But whatever. He's Russian in this one. And he's fantastic.
It was the 80s.
Yeah, they're
Cold
European,
War.
whatever. Who cares? They're all the same. he is barely in this movie, but boy, does he make the most of his screen.
Scenes, right?
Yes, the very beginning and the very end, but it is all, he is incredible every time he's on screen, and he never says like a word in the entire film. He says a couple lines later, but it is so good. We'll get to him eventually here. But we open up in this movie on at the dojo where Jason, who is our main character, is training, and we don't initially know that the sensei or whatever is his dad, but it is. It's his dad runs this karate school basically.
Yes. So they're in Los Angeles. So
they're in LA at the beginning. Yeah,
they're going through their like
practicing, and they start doing some sparring. And Jason just beats the shit out of his sparring partner.
Yeah, because like they're supposed to be going over mostly. I mean, it's mostly defensive techniques and stuff like that. And Jason's like, screw that shit. It just knocks this guy out.
Beats the shit out of him, and then he starts doing like Bruce Lee noises and stuff. Because we find out he's a huge Bruce Lee fan, and I love his dad runs over and he's like,
"This isn't Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, it's karate. Now get with the program, okay?"
And I'm like, I don't think the problem is that he was doing the wrong style of martial art. The problem is that he beat the shit out of this kid that is like training with or whatever. But okay, sure. But his dad does not like Bruce Lee for some reason. His dad is like,
dude, there's so much in this movie where people just like have unbridled hate for no reason
whatsoever.
Hey, Scott, why do you hate that kid so much?
I've got my reasons.
I think part of the problem, and we'll get to it with some scenes later, is that I think the edit of this that we watch, or the version of this we watch, is missing scenes.
Yes.
And I read on IMDb that there are other versions that were released in other countries that have some of those scenes.
Like Mac and Me.
Like There is one thing in particular, which we'll get to here in a few minutes, that I was like, what? Am I having a stroke? How does the whole Kelly thing?
Yes. Who the hell's Kelly? Why do they know each other? You met him in L.A.? That would have been nice to see.
I thought I was having a stroke. I was like, I had to back the movie up. We'll get to it. But I had to back the movie up and like scrub through it again. Like, did I fall asleep for 5 minutes? What happened?
Chivo Sabe. Thought we said 10 o'clock, RJ. Where have you been? Oh, this is new girl. She wouldn't let me leave.
But so they're doing the training. He yells at Jason for beating up this kid, and then as they're all leaving for the day, mobsters come in.
Yes. Okay. So one of them is in a gi.
Yes.
Which is not Jean-Claude Van Damme.
No, Jean-Claude Van
Damme is in this just incredible 3-piece white suit.
Yes, looks amazing. He's the muscle. They come in though, and they get shaken down. Because basically this
is the most insane plot point I've ever.
So stupid, I love it.
Okay, so it's a mafia like crime family from New York, basically.
Yeah, out of New York,
and all their operations are done through karate dojos,
which is so stupid and incredible. I love it.
Did you think over our proposal, Mr. Stillwell?
Yes, I did. And I'm sorry you came all the way from New York.
Basically, they're like, you got to join the mafia and let us use your dojo as a front for our illegal operations. And the dad's like, no, I won't do it. I won't join the mafia or whatever.
I won't join. Your organization.
It's so 80s though. It's like right up there with we got to save the rec center.
I know, it's incredible. And we'll get to it at the end with the final verdict. This movie I think is very close to being on par with something like Miami Connection.
Yeah.
My mother was Korean. And my father was Black American.
Not quite as good, but it is very close.
The music's fantastic.
Yes, and we'll get to the music later, but holy shit. But anyway, so he's like, no, I won't do it. And they're like, all right, well, then we're going to have to beat you up or whatever. And I love his dad has this line where he's like, karate is not to be used aggressively, but if I have no other choice.
Karate is not to be used aggressively, but if I have no other choice.
And he's like, well, it's not aggressively. They're coming to beat you up, but okay.
I mean, yeah.
So his dad gets in a fight with one of the henchmen or whatever, and that footage is definitely not sped way the fuck up. It's definitely not played back at like 200% speed.
But eventually Jean-Claude Van Damme just gets into the fray and immediately breaks his leg.
Does a jumping flying kick off his partner's back and drop kicks him across the room.
in the suit. It's incredible.
And then, grabs him and like breaks his knee or whatever. And then so Jason's like, whoa, no, and comes running in to fight Jean-Claude Van Damme. And it's a great setup. This is the classic, like, oh, the bad guy, hurt or killed your father. Now you try to jump in, but you get smacked down because you're not good enough yet. Yeah,
he's not ready.
He's not ready. So Jean-Claude Van Damme just beats the shit out of him. Beats out the shit out of the kid, and they leave, and they're left. His dad's leg is broken. Jason got his arm kind of messed up a little bit. They didn't break it or anything, but he got like his arm. It got arm barred and was like, "Get the fuck out of here, kid." And then we cut to the hospital, and his dad's laying in the hospital, and we get this amazing voiceover of his dad's like. They want all of the dojos as part of the organization as fronts for organized crime.
They want all the major dojos as fronts for organized crime. I know they'll be mad. What should I do?
What should I do?
What?
He's just thinking this to himself in the hospital bed.
Okay. Not that I'm giving advice on organized crime. Just let that hang a little bit. Usually when you have a front for your organized crime, it's a business in which the organization is laundering money through.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like thinking like the car wash in Breaking Bad or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not going to be a dojo where a couple of high school kids come and take self-defense courses.
I don't know. I will say a dojo seems like a really weird way to launder money, but maybe it's a great way. I don't know. I also am not an expert in organized crime, and especially not organized karate crime. So, But anyway, so he's like, I don't want to sell out to the mafia, so our only choice is to move.
Yep.
To Seattle. And they straight up get up and move to Seattle. And I was like, the 80s, where a guy who runs a small karate dojo has enough money to pick up his entire family and buy a house in Seattle. I was like, all right, cool. Amazing. So they move up to Seattle.
In their station wagon.
And their U-Haul trailer that they rented. So they get to Seattle, and we're introduced to my favorite character in this movie.
RJ is so great. His hair is 100% flammable.
It's so good. His name, the actor's name, I believe, is J.W. Fails. Which is incredible. And I could find like nothing about this guy. I tried to like look. He's in the very few movies. He was one of the people in Dancing 2 Electric Boogaloo or whatever.
That's incredible.
It was one of his only other credits that I recognize.
Surprised me because the dude throws down.
He throws down like nonstop in this movie. Breakdancing.
Not bad.
But his introduction, it could not be more ridiculous. He comes riding in on a bike with a boombox playing hip-hop music.
Duct tape to his
Duct tape to the handlebars, and then he catches a basketball and starts dribbling it while riding it.
It's so great.
He might as well be rapping at the same time. It's just like, what is happening? Oh, God. He does rap later, though. He does at different points throughout the movie.
Well, I dance a bit and I'm really quick. I rap to the beat so viciously. Why you go imitating Bruce Lee? I like to...
And I have to talk about the performances in this movie are all, especially in the first half, are all so over the top and ridiculous. Yes, like
100%.
Everybody is acting like cartoon characters. It's so strange.
I think probably the worst person for that is the dad probably.
Oh, yes.
His acting is so over the top.
It's brutal. It is brutal.
Fighting is for punks. Dad, I was helping a friend. Doesn't that mean anything to you? Fighting is wrong.
And I think part of that, to be fair, is that they cast the people in this movie not for acting, but for either martial arts ability or they could dance. Like RJ is in this movie because he can dance and is like a fun guy.
The actor playing Jason is like old.
Oh, he's considerably older than he's not high. I mean,
he's like probably like 24, 25-ish or something like that.
Yeah.
And his dad's like, what, like 36
his dad
at the
looks
most?
Barely old. His dad does look like he had him when he was like 12. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, so they right after we're introduced to RJ, we're also introduced, and I don't know his name, the bully character, who is leaning against the car, eating like an entire cake.
What in the?
Shoving an entire cake into his face.
Oh, great.
Incredible.
Karate Kids.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee freak. Just what Kingswood needs.
With that RJ. His anger for RJ makes no sense.
Never explained, and the only thing I can fathom is he just hates black people. It's the only possible explanation.
The only thing I'm going to have to go against that is the fact that the karate school that he attends...
Oh, yeah. The top guy is a black guy who's like his friend or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. He just... Because he says... There's a scene later at the burger place where he's like, there's that RJ motherfucker, and they're like, why do you hate him? And he's like, I have my reasons. And it is never explained.
It's that slime ball, RJ.
Hey, Scott, why do you hate that kid so much?
I've got my reasons.
And I was like, what are your reasons?
Did he take your ding dong? your host?
Right? It is literally never explained. It's incredible. So then...
it's just an example of bad writing.
Yeah, or scenes that are missing. It could be that. It could be there were scenes that are not in this version that we watched. Because again, there are... On IMDb, there's a list of a different version that has like 8 other scenes that are not in the version we watched.
But this guy 100% has diabetes.
Yeah.
He has all the diabetes.
He's just shoveling cake into his face. And he's very mad that a karate freak moved. He says...
Bruce Lee freak. Just what Kingswood needs. Why me?
Oh, a Bruce Lee freak, just what our neighborhood needs. And it's like, it's another one of these things where, was this a thing, Kyle, where people who did karate hated people who did Jeet Kune Do or something? Because, like, everybody in this movie is like, like his dad is like, we do karate in this house, not Jeet
But
Kune Do.
that also kind of reminds me of Miami Connection, because like there was a disparity between like karate and taekwondo
or whatever the other one. Yeah. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Apparently in the 80s there were feuds over different types of martial arts, which is very funny to me.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, right. But he's very upset because he doesn't like AJ or Jason because one, he's friends with RJ now, but also he does Jeet Kune Do and he's a Bruce Lee fan, and that's fucked up.
He has his reasons.
Yeah, I have my reasons.
I've got my reasons.
So then they go into the garage where Jason has set up his like training area, and immediately RJ just starts rapping and dancing.
Yep.
He's like, my name is RJ and I'm here to say, and it's like, oh no, what is happening?
And very, very 80s rapping.
Yeah. Yeah.
I rap to the beat so viciously. Why you go imitating Bruce Lee? I like to feel my highs, like to feel my lows. Why you rap, try to kick with your toes?
Oh my God. And he just, the whole time, it's one of the reasons I love RJ's character so much. He just has the goofiest smile on his face.
He is a living cartoon character.
He's just like, he's mugging and cheesing the whole time. He actually kind of reminded me in that way of the character, because he also dances nonstop. It's the character from the fucking guy from Dancing It's On, who just like pop and locks into a scene and just like smiles at the camera, the captain,
right? Yeah.
and then like pop and locks out of the scene. It's like, what is this? All right, I guess this is what we're doing.
I wonder if RJ was a dancer.
A dancer? He was a dancer.
He must have been a dancer.
He must have been a dancer. Incredible. But anyway, so then one of the things during this dance scene, he tries to run up the shelving on the wall, which we have established in the moment before this is faulty and like fell apart when Jason was like messing with it. And so he eats shit. He tries to run up this and eat shit onto the ground. But it's incredible because he eats shit and lands, but then break dances out of it and stands up like, I'm fine.
Yeah, because you can't let them see you fail.
No.
You have to make everything go into something else. It was intentional.
It's so good. It's so good.
Not bad.
So then he ends up leaving. This is just introducing them as to like introducing their friendship basically. And then we cut to, I think, the next day. And RJ is coming over to Jason's because they're going to go to a karate dojo.
Because they see the national karate champion is a guy who runs a local dojo. Yeah. And he just won
the national kickboxing whatever.
It was this huge trophy.
A gigantic trophy. But they're going to go there. But so on his way over there, RJ runs into the bully and they like have a very brief chase scene that makes no sense. But I love they get into a fight and RJ just bites the shit out of his face.
It bites his nose.
He bites his nose. What the fuck is happening? And then RJ gets over to Jason's and he's covered in water because I think I don't remember if we saw
sprayed by the pressure hose.
Yeah, that's right. Because he had a pressure washer at one point. So he's all wet and he gets over there and he's talking to Jason. He's like,
Where have you been? Oh, this is new girl. She wouldn't let me leave. Save it for the National Enquirer.
oh, I just came from my girl's house, and boy, you should see. He's like, why are you all wet? And he's like, you should see what she can do. And I was like, did RJ just imply? Oh boy. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
What happened to your clothes? That's what I'm trying to tell you. I had to sprint all the way up here. But hey, you wouldn't believe what she could do with her. Shut up and get in the car.
But before they go to the dojo, they have to make a stop by Bruce Lee's grave.
Yes. Yeah, that was the point.
Which has been in 2 of our movies. We have seen Bruce Lee's grave in 2 of our movies.
Okay, what was the other one? Because I don't remember.
Well, this is the second one.
Yeah.
But the other one it's in the credits, or either the opening or ending credits for Fight of Fury, right? I'm pretty sure Fight of Fury. There's one other movie where at the end credits, they just show Bruce Lee's grave, and they're like, I like Bruce Lee. I can't remember.
That 100% sounds like a Shooty B thing.
I think it was Fight of Fury. I'm pretty sure. But anyways, it's like this is the second time I've seen Bruce Lee's grave.
Like, this is Bruce Lee's grave back because I don't know if you know they've changed up his grave. Like here they have the Taoist book. There is white. It's like marble, and now it's like it's black. And they changed the photo and stuff. But they did those renovations whenever they installed Brandon Lee's grave right next to it.
Okay. So yeah, it would have been in the 90s, right? Like the mid 90s or whatever. Okay. I gotcha.
So the two graves might be different in that regard.
Right. But because Shoonie Bees would have been filmed way after that change happened. He gives them some flowers and he's like, I want to be just like you, Bruce Lee. You're the best, basically. And then they're going to head to the, I think they're not even going to the karate studio yet, because then they walk by. Oh, this is where RJ walks by the burger place.
Yes.
Because inside, the bully guy is sitting eating burgers with all of his friends.
And just getting shit everywhere all over him.
Covered in mustard and stuff. And I love one of the guys he's friends with has a fucking Padawan braid.
Yes.
He's got the... I was like, man, the 80s were a wild fucking time,
God.
Kyle.
And he just says, look, you don't have to do much, but don't let him leave.
Yeah.
Just keep him from going anywhere. That's all I ask.
And immediately it gets into like PSA bullying style after school special.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, hey, RJ, where are you going?
Where you going, nerd? Yeah. And they get out there and then he corners RJ in the little like closed in outdoor dining area. And they have this weird scene where he grabs him, he's holding onto the rail, and there's like it's very strange.
You scared, Punk? You better be.
But Jason shows up just in time and yells, "No retreat, no surrender." Or maybe
No, it was RJ.
Does, yeah.
RJ, because they go back to back.
Oh, yeah. No retreat, no surrender. Boom. Yeah, and they're able to get out of there.
And the store owner comes out. It's like, oh, shit, a real adult. Everybody run.
Run. Yeah.
It's a very classic 80s thing.
Yeah.
No retreat, no surrender.
Everybody break it up, break it up. You better be glad the ski came along, Brucey!
But then he gets home, and his dad gets really mad at him for getting into a fight.
Yeah.
And he's like, go to your room. This isn't, you're not Bruce Lee. What are you doing? There's no Jeet Kune Do in my household getting into fights or whatever. And I love he goes to his room, and then we get this dramatic scene where he looks at all the Bruce Lee posters.
He needs to get inspired.
With these like dramatic cuts and like Dutch angle shots of Bruce Lee posters. It's amazing. But then the next day he wakes up and he wants to go to the dojo, or the new karate school. So he shows up there and he meets the stand-in instructor.
Which, by the way, what a time to have been alive when your local dojo has a receptionist.
Yeah, right? There is a receptionist. He's sitting at the front desk, and this woman is there like, he's filling out the paperwork so he can sign up. And he meets the stand-in, like the second-in-command guy who's teaching while the winner, or the head of the dojo was out for the competition.
Like a high school student to a degree or something like that?
It seems like it, yeah. He's supposed to be the same age, because it becomes a love triangle situation with Kelly. But so he's like telling him about the school and stuff, and then they get inside, and then we see that the bully is in there. He goes to this karate school.
Of course. Where else would he be going?
Why not? And the bully explains that
Jason's from LA and he does LA karate and he thinks it's
Seattle
better.
Karate is shit.
Yeah, exactly.
He was putting Seattle karate down in a big way and talking about how wonderful Los Angeles karate is.
We got to teach him a lesson. He basically lies to him and says that Jason was bullying him and like the other kids from the karate school. And so the head guy is like, all right, well, we'll show him. And they get their best guy to just beat the shit out of him for 5 minutes. It's pretty great. And eventually he gets his ass kicked and then leaves. And then we cut. He's like, I guess I won't go to this dojo. Him and RJ just run away. And they're like, oh, fuck this.
We're out.
Later, bro.
And then we cut, and this is where I thought I was losing my mind, because it's the next day, and they're like, all right, I'm going to that party, and I got a present. And RJ's like, man, she must be special. And I'm like, who? Who must be special?
Who are we talking about
Who
here?
are we talking about?
We cut to the party.
Yeah.
And we find out that it's Kelly who is just... introduced right here.
Yes, she opens the door and she's like, "Oh, Jason," and they like kiss on the cheek. I'm like, who is this? Who is this woman? And he walks inside. He's like, "I got you a present," and he sets it on the table. And she opens it. It's a fucking rabbit.
It's a rabbit. Never buy an animal as a present for somebody.
Unless you have discussed it ahead of time. Never. But he buys her,
or possibly even if they live on a farm where they're already taking care of other animals.
Yeah, but to be fair, I guess they did kind of discuss it in a scene we did not see, because she's like, "Oh my God, it's amazing. How'd you know?" And he's like, "Well, because you couldn't stop talking about it at the pet store yesterday." And I was like,
How did you know? You made such a fuss over it at the pet store the other day, I just had to get it.
"What?"
It's all right. We'll just fix it with one line of dialogue. Thank God you were excited about the thing.
It's an easy fix. One line of dialogue. Thank God we invented the, whatever device.
What? Yeah, I was like, wait, what pet store? What? And apparently, in like the other versions of this movie, that scene is in.
Do you think there's like a 2.5 hour long cut?
I hope not.
Of this film.
I'm glad we didn't get that, because as much as I enjoyed this movie, if it were 2.5 hours, yes, it moves nice and quick. If it were longer, it would not work as well. I just thought maybe initially watching this that they hadn't shot that scene. They like ran out of budget or whatever. We're like, "Oh fuck, we just didn't get to this
ran out of that Coca-cola money."
Yeah, ran out of that Coca-Cola money, and they just didn't get to the pet store scene. But no, apparently they did. They just cut it out of this version for some reason.
Go find some other girl to pest.
You're the only one I want to pest.
Give me a break.
And I will say too. So then he gets in the backyard, and
the stand-in karate instructor
is
from
there.
the dojo's there.
And he is also in love with Kelly. Who Kelly, we will find out, is the younger sister of the head of the dojo guy. I don't know any of their fucking names.
I think I only remember Ian because I had said his name ad nauseum.
Yeah,
was the head instructor.
Congratulations, Ian. How's it going, guys? Sensei? Good job. Yeah, congrats, Sensei.
Right. But the bad guy instructor, he wants to get with Kelly. So when Jason shows up, he's like, "I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, nerd." And they get into a fight in the backyard, and he starts choking him to death on a table. It's incredible. So he just gets his ass kicked again. And I will say, I was not expecting that head and stand-in instructor guy to become a villain. Like, I really thought, because when he seems very nice when they first meet him, and then like I thought it was going to be a thing because the bully lies to him about like what Jason's background was. I thought it was going to be a misunderstanding that
like an Iceman type thing where you have preconceived notions and you're immediately
and they clash heads, but then eventually they like, "Oh, okay, you weren't actually, this guy was the bully, not you."
No, he's
none
just
of that.
a dick.
He's just a dickhead. Like, okay, great, amazing.
Are you thick? Her brother's my sensei. She's spoken for by me.
So he gets into another fight, and then he leaves that party again.
And we get some anger, we get some driving and some reflecting of shit that happened 10 fucking seconds ago.
Yes, always.
Like he's driving and reflecting back at what happened, and we get to see in like these like two cut-ins of what happened like not even 2 minutes ago in screen time.
It's incredible. But he gets home and his dad is mad at him again. I guess he knows he got in another fight, but because his dad goes into his room, I think this is where he rips his Bruce Lee poster in half or whatever. I think.
Oh no,
that might be later.
No, he goes into the garage and starts doing some like some Footloose-esque like angry martial arts.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then his dad comes in and it's like, "No more Jeet Kune Do," and rips the Bruce Lee poster in half. And then Jason's like, "Oh, I don't want to. If I can't do Jeet Kune Do, I don't want to live here anymore, Dad." And runs out of the house.
He
or whatever.
tore that poster and ripped Jason's heart in twine. You could see it.
Don't do that!
He does. It's true. And I love, he then goes over to RJ's house. Kyle, he knocks on the fence. And RJ's just like, "Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Where were you? It's the middle of the night."
And he's like, he's working product in his hair.
Yeah, he's got his cap on to keep his hair, because he's got this stuff going, and because it's nighttime.
Just let your soul go. Just let it shine through.
And yeah, I was like, how did you, he just knocks on the fence and RJ's like, "Hello?" It's like,
but they're like, I need a new place to put all my stuff in. He's like, "I know this abandoned house."
Yeah,
I know of an empty house near here. We can take the stuff there if you'd like.
Okay.
He just knows an abandoned house. He's like, let's go there. RJ, I will say, great friend, ride or die. He just, as soon as Jason needs anything, he's like, yeah, man. And he does it with a smile all the time. He's like, yeah, man, let's do it. I know a place. And so they take all of his shit to this abandoned house and they start setting it all up. And then he's like, oh, sweet. Now I have my secret training dojo in this old abandoned house. And then RJ leaves.
It's also where the Coca-Cola product placement is getting pretty heavy.
They're like, oh, it's good. Oh, we're finally done setting up. Time for a nice, relaxing, refreshing, ice cold Coke. Yeah. And then so RJ's like, well, it's getting pretty late. I need to go home. So he leaves. And then and then Jason's
like, Bruce Lee, I've never prayed to you before. I have no tongue for it.
And then the ghost of Bruce Lee teleports down from the mothership. And walks through the front door. It's incredible. God, yes. I was ill prepared for this.
RJ, is that you?
You know. You asked me to come.
A blinding blue light illuminates the front of the house, and the silhouette of Bruce Lee walks in, and it's just fucking Bruce Lee standing there.
And he nails every mannerism of Bruce Lee down.
Did you look who this guy was? So this actor's name is, or was, he passed away, I think, quite a while ago, but Kim Tai-chung. And he was actually one of the two people who played stand-in for Bruce Lee in Game of Death after Bruce Lee died.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he had played Bruce Lee before.
So he was one of the actors who was
like a body
Bruce
double.
Lee.
Yes.
Was it body double? Because there was also a point where he had.
I don't know the specific.
He had to have like cosmetic surgery after an injury. That's how they were able to switch out actors.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know the specifics of like which parts he played. I just read on his Wikipedia he was one of the two actors who filmed the rest of Game of Death basically as Bruce Lee. So, and then he did this movie where he also plays Bruce Lee. But he basically begins training him, and he do like 1 inch punches him across the fucking room. He's like, watch this, bam, and knocks him across the fucking room. And he's like, you're not strong enough, you're not fast enough, you need to work the fuck out. You need to get
time for a montage.
Time for a montage.
We're gonna need a montage. Sports training montage.
And it's just a nonstop montage of him fucking doing push-ups and
apparently the biggest
spring punches.
The biggest thing is also just core exercises.
Yes, so many core exercises. I will say I would not have assumed that Jason's issue was that he wasn't jacked enough. I thought he just wasn't good enough at fighting or whatever. No, it seems like the issue is you're not strong enough. You need to get yoked, man.
So he gets into a crazy training montage, and we get to a point where the spirit of Bruce Lee is like, all right, I need you. We're going to hold up your leg up here.
Tie a rope to the ceiling with a loop on the end. You put your foot in it, and then we put a...
This is to simulate if your foot is being held by somebody.
Yeah, and then we put like a kicking target up in the air, and you have to, with your one leg held in the rope, you got to jump up and kick the thing with your other leg. It's like, that seems like a good way to break your fucking ankle, man. It's a really good way to break your ankle. I also have to talk about during this training montage, which there's another scene in a few minutes that they're clearly doing this on purpose. But this first scene, he's doing these core exercises. Jason is like, his neck is on a bench.
He's like pelvic thrusting.
His neck is on a bench, and his feet are on like a playground, and he's pelvic thrusting. Core exercises, and RJ sneaks up and jumps on him, ass first on his crotch, and knocks him to the ground. And they both laugh about it. I was like, one, that would fucking hurt. That did not look like fun. And two, I was like, what are we doing here, movie?
Well, we know what we're doing.
We'll get to it. And that was my other. I'm not kidding. I think my other thought, which if this is the case, it's interesting because it's handled pretty well for '83, is that RJ is gay, and that's why the bully doesn't like him. Was my other, and it also kind of ties into him showing up and being like, "Oh, I was just with my girlfriend." Like he's kind of covering and like doesn't want. Yeah, I actually think that might be partially what's going on. Potentially, I don't know. And the movie never really talks about it or addresses it. But there are some weird like jokes that the movie kind of, I don't know, I couldn't tell what the movie was trying to do with it. But he's killing it. He's cheesing, and every scene he's in, he's just
the dude is a show stealer.
He is. He steals every scene he's in. He's incredible. But he does finally, at the end of the montage, get the jump kick and kicks the bag, and then Bruce Lee's like, "All right, I'm out."
Peace, dog. There was a scene with Bruce Lee where he does a very the guy who plays Bruce Lee. He does a very Bruce Lee thing where he gets 2 glasses. One he fills with Diet Coke.
Be Diet Coke, my friend.
And the other
like Diet Coke.
The other one's like a glass of water, and he says, "This is what you know. This is what I have to teach you." And he starts filling up the already filled glass. And he's like, "As you can tell, it overflows. You must forget all this, and you will learn."
Cup of my knowledge is more than your cup holds.
No need to go.
Amazing. And then right at the very end of this montage, this is the other moment I was talking about. Jason is doing the hip thrusts again. RJ
is eating an ice cream.
Sitting on his crotch, staring almost at the camera, eating an ice cream and smiling. And I was like, what is happening? What are we doing? It is so interesting. It's so interesting.
Your biggest challenge.
It's art. And of course, it's the 80s, so they're all wearing those ridiculous track shorts.
Yeah, like tiny track shorts and stuff. Yeah, I don't know if that's what the movie is going for. I will say, if it is, they actually don't make like it. It's never really stated, but they don't make like cheap jokes that you would normally assume like about him being gay or anything like that. They handle it pretty well, and Jason seems to be cool with them. Like they don't seem to have any issues. He doesn't seem weirded out. I think they handle it pretty well, all things considered, if that's what they're going for. But it's just so interesting.
Again, I don't know. It's also the 80s. Everything else about this movie is incredibly deliberate. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, who knows? And then I love at the end, there's a training scene where he's jumping, kicking all these bags and stuff, and he's just dressed like Ralph Macchio as the karate, or is that Ralph Macchio? Is he the Karate Kid?
Yeah.
He's wearing the exact outfit. It's like the gray sweatpants, the red sweatband, and like a gray tank top. It's like the exact training clothes that he wears.
Was it 84? Was that the first Karate Kid film?
Something like that, or it was early 80s, because this definitely came out after, because this is aping like everything from the Karate Kid mixed with some other stuff. Karate Kid 84, and this came out in 85 or 86 or something like that. So
taking all the cues.
Yeah, for sure. But then, so we also, there's this little side plot where his dad now works as a bartender.
Mm-hmm. And he just gets one of those people get drunk and rowdy at bars.
And knows that he used to teach karate and tries to start shit with them, and the dad like throws him out of the bar.
Why would you do that, dude? I mean, you're in this situation to begin with.
Because he's a drunk asshole.
I mean, he's a drunk asshole, but like you're like a factory worker. This is somebody who like trains constantly to do like self-defense shit.
He's just an idiot.
Of course, he's gonna kick your ass.
Yeah, but he throws him out, and then so the guy comes back later with his friends to beat the shit out of him. But as he's about to get his ass kicked, Jason, boom, shows up and
just starts
somersaults over the car hood, and then runs in and just starts beating the shit out of everybody.
Kicks everywhere.
It's incredible. Saves his dad from the bullies, and then this resolves their tension. His dad's like,
"Oh well, I guess it was okay to use violence in this regard because it helps save us.
It helps save me. I respect you, son." It's basically how the scene ends. He's like, "I'm proud of you.
God.
Let's wrap up that plot line." Amazing.
Dad, there are times when you just have to fight.
I'm very proud of you, son.
I've been such a fool. I haven't exactly helped.
Then we cut from there to the dance scene where they go to like a club or whatever.
Where RJ is in Michael Jackson.
Yes,
like, there's multiple Michael Jacksons.
Yes.
There's like 3 or 4 Michael Jacksons in this.
But he is straight up, I mean, he has the glove and everything. Straight up Michael Jackson. And they get in, and then becomes the best wingman ever.
It's like, I gotta set up Jason with Kelly.
And he pop and locks over to these other 2 people who were dancing at the beginning of the scene. And he's like, I need your help. This is the break-in code. We got the break dancing code.
He also does his old performance and stuff.
That's right, yeah.
And then he's like, he goes full Footloose. Let's dance!
All right, everybody get up and dance.
Yeah, let's dance. and they all start dancing. And then he gets the other two people to go get Kelly and Jason and bring them to the dance floor. And then he goes over to the DJ and is like, psst, 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 I need you to play this song. And then they get them together, and then a slow song comes on. And I'm like, RJ is the best.
Marvin Gaye, Trouble Man.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I was like, everybody needs an RJ in their life. This dude is amazing. So they're now, they have their slow dance or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really go anywhere. But this is kind of they're together now because they had a bit of a falling out after the party because of the fighting and stuff.
We've taken care of that stuff. But
now it's time for the big clam.
Got to resolve that New York gangster organized crime.
I could not figure out, and I still don't know, Kyle, how this big final fight competition relates at all to the mafia taking over the dojo.
It has not, because all they did with Jason's dad is they just came in, kicked his ass, and said, "Play ball, or it's going to get worse."
Now you force my hand. An example must be made. You see?
With Ian's dojo, they were like, we're going to have a sanctioned fight for the right to your dojo.
Somehow.
Let me get this right.
What?
So instead of going underhand and basically just beating the shit out of him and threatening him to sell, you're going to go into a legal situation.
Go through the work of setting up a big organized karate competition.
That has judges and everything.
Yeah. And like the whole town is there to watch. And then somehow the result of this means that you get there. I do not understand at all, and I don't think the movie cares. And it's kind of amazing. But apparently losing means they lose the gym to the mobster guy. And I'm like, okay.
Gotta save the rec center.
Exactly. But they're coming in, and it's dojo versus dojo, and the New York dojo comes in, and they're Jean-Claude Van Damme is not there. I was like, what? Where's Van Damme? And it's just these other three guys, and then our guys, they're not even our guys because they're the bullies that were beating up Jason before. But it's the guy who's the head trainer or whatever, the bully guy, and then the guy who was like their best fighter who
kicked Jason's ass
earlier. And those three are going to fight each other like in 3 one-on-one fights, and whoever wins. But then just out of nowhere,
sweep the leg. The New York dude, the crime boss dude, came, like knocks the MC out of the way.
Knocks him out of the way and steals the mic.
And says, all right. These three fighters we flew in for this shit, they're not fighting. You guys can go away. You're not important.
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, get out of here.
Come on down. And I love he comes walking in, they're like, the awesome machine of annihilation. And as he's walking in, he's got these posse of guys who are just going, ooh, 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 like walking with them.
Then he needs a hype guy.
He has 6 of them. Yeah. Ooh, ooh. It's so stupid. I love it so much. They get into the ring, and he's going to fight all of the other people one by one. And so he fights the first guy, which is like the guy who is also in love with Kelly.
And he just gets his ass.
He gets his ass kicked. He drop kicks him out of the ring.
Yeah, just flips him right over.
No, he drop kicks him and Well, he flips some people in a minute. We'll get to that. It's incredible. But he drop kicks him. He goes flying out of the ring, and so he loses. And then the next guy
comes up and.
He holds his own a little bit for a minute.
He probably gets the worst out of them.
Oh yeah,
because he's not letting him down, and he's not letting him out of the ring. So he just knocks him the fuck out.
Yeah, knocks him the fuck out. But he does this thing, and he does it twice because I think they were so proud of it. He gets him over to the ropes, and he spins him around and wraps him in the ropes. And so he's stuck there and is just wailing on him before eventually doing like a wrestling move where he throws him into the ropes and he bounces off, and then he drop kicks him and knocks him unconscious, or he spin kicks him and knocks him unconscious. And they carry him out of the ring. And then so finally and I can't remember if he does it or if somebody else does it, but or if it's the Ian guy or the head guy, but somebody, either him or Ian, does this great move where they get knocked, or it might even be Van Damme, I'm not sure. somebody gets knocked onto the ground and they do like a spinning breakdance move and then shoot up and kick somebody in the face. It's fucking amazing. It's one of those two fights. It's before the final fight with Jason. But I was like, holy shit, that was awesome. This final scene is incredible. This whole fight scene, it's really well choreographed. It's really well shot. It amps up in a really fun way.
Obviously, where all the budget, a lot of the budget was put in.
Yeah, they clearly spent days and days shooting this because it levels up. It feels like you're like playing a video game.
It escalates, yeah.
It escalates from like the worst fighter to the better fighters, and the stakes keep getting higher and higher, and it's so much fun. And then so he beats the second guy. Knocks him unconscious. Ian comes in, they fight. He does the rope wrapping trick again. Yeah. And he's wailing on him. And Kelly comes in with a stool and is like, because at this point he has knocked the fucking official like out of the ring or whatever. Yes. And so all bets are off.
The bully guy also tries getting in there and immediately,
gets his ass kicked. Yeah. And then Kelly comes in with a stool and is trying to hit.
And she comes in with the chair.
She's trying to hit Van Damme with a chair. And he smacks her, and as soon as he smacks her, Jason's like, the fuck?
That's it.
And comes flying in from the crowd. He was like there watching with his friend or whatever, or with RJ. Oh my God. He does the breakdancing kick. And that's right, because he learned it from RJ. Which is amazing. I love it. Yeah, that's right. He comes in and he does the breakdancing kick, and it's like, yes, he learned it from RJ.
RJ, you the real MVP.
Because RJ yells, and that's the thing that gets him in there. RJ stands up. After he gets up there, RJ's like,
no retreat! No surrender!
No retreat, no surrender. And it's like, yeah.
Activates battle mode, just gotta get it.
Oh my God, it's incredible. So then they get in this fight, and they start, they're just fighting each other, blah, blah, blah. And he starts winning. And as he's winning, we keep cutting back and forth to the montage of him training, and there's a couple moments, but one in particular that got me so good, where he gets Van Damme up against the ropes, and he's like speed punching him like in the stomach, and then it cuts to the same angle of him doing the spring punching thing. And I was like, yeah, it's so good. I love it so much. It's so incredible.
They get into a kind of a final situation where he gets his leg caught. It's like, it's just like the rope thing.
Yeah.
And he does this ridiculous backflip kick that the ghost of Bruce Lee did to him. Earlier.
It's amazing. He does the flip kick, knocks him out. Oh my God, knocks him unconscious. He falls over, and Jason wins, and then everybody rushes into the ring, throws him up on their shoulders.
Yes, they start. And my favorite thing about that, first off, the music here is fantastic.
Oh, dude, we'll get
but like they're like raising, they're constantly pushing him up, and like every so often they get him almost down, and then the director's like, no, bring him up again, bring him up again.
Yeah, it's so good, and the camera just cranes back out of the gym, and we fade to black.
It's an insane and awesome ending.
And then the credits roll, and it's the song we have heard throughout, but I finally got to listen to it here in the credits. This song is called "Hold On to the Vision." And it is so good. It was written for this movie.
It is everything great about the 80s.
It is. It is every much as good as a lot of the songs in Miami Connection, as like Drug Runners, as what was the one? Not Miami.
He's a mercenary man.
Mercenary man. That one, and then there's another one from the one with the diamonds and the snakes. That was like the two girls who were like the radioactive snake.
Hard ticket to Hawaii.
Yeah, it is. I mean, hard ticket to Hawaii. It is just up there among the greatest like power anthems of 80s action movies. It is so good. I love it so much. Called Hold On to the Vision. Go check it out. But yeah, dude, this movie is good bad. This movie is perfect.
Great bad. This
it's
movie
so
is incredible.
Good. It's incredible. I loved everything about it. There's a little bit early on that's a little like, as it was getting going, I was like, I don't. What is? It was fine. But once it starts ramping up, and we get basically
once we get RJ in, everything.
Well, not even that. Yeah, RJ, but yeah. And then to me, where it really started taking off is when the ghost of Bruce Lee shows up.
Yes.
From there to the end, it is nonstop amazing. It's so good. I loved it so much. Highly recommend. We watched it on YouTube because you originally sent the Amazon link. When you go to this movie on IMDb, there's a link to watch it on like some service, Freebie or something like that. But when you click on it, it's the Rip
Tracks audio track. What?
Like, what? Okay, I guess.
Is this making you reconsider our offer?
Well, it's a compelling argument. Why don't you beat up my lawyer on Monday? We'll see what he says.
Can't do that. So yeah, but it is. I was able to find it on YouTube. I don't know if it's a legal copy or not, but it's pretty good quality. So you can watch it on YouTube if you want, and I would highly recommend it. It is fantastic. As always, you can do us a giant favor by heading over to patreon.com/GBorBB. Support us there for a few bucks a month. Get access to bonus content and other stuff. I have a podcast called This Film Is Lit where we talk about movies that are based on books. When this episode is out, our most recent episode will have been Murder on the Orient Express.
Ooh,
yes, nice. We're doing the 2017 version. We let our listeners vote, and they picked the 2017
have
one.
Kenneth Branagh's mustache
on
the cover?
Kenneth Branagh is Hercule Poirot. Or however you pronounce his name,
Nice.
With the craziest mustache ever. So yeah, that'll be the most recent episode of that. You can do us another big favor by heading over to tpublic.com and searching for Good Bad or Bad Bad, and there's some merch where you can get our merch with our logo and all that sort of good stuff.
This isn't even screen print. This is like actual fabric that is dyed in color. This is not no cheap stuff here.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Occasionally with
Twitch.
Twitch.
Twitch.tv. Every now and then you can find us on there. We'll always announce it on like Facebook and so that sort of thing. If you wanna check that out. And I believe that's it for this episode. Until next time, keep watching movies and
especially no retreat, no surrender.
Freeze.